Okay, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I am Sean Williams, aka Mr. President, and it is the Safe Room. It is a safe space for entrepreneurs and business owners in Toronto to share their personal and professional experiences. And today, I got a I got a heavy hitter. I got a heavy hitter for this one. I ain't gonna lie. Like, let me pull out the resume because I'm telling you, okay, he is a sought after international youth resilient speaker, best-selling children's book author, and respected educator known for his signature message, keep riding the wave. Listen, I feel like that alone, like, do I need to keep going? Like, we can't keep going. We can keep, glazing and making sure we give him the love and the respect. This is a gentleman I got to meet a long time ago, and we've been having good conversations, insightful conversations, and he's been able to do so much. He's been honored with the University of Guelph Humber's Gold Medallion for Leadership Excellence. What? Wait, hold on. First off, round of applause alone. Like, that is exceptional. And may I mention, guys, like probably the coup de grace, the resistance on top. He's done a TED talk. So this man's already, he's real official. He's done a TED talk and everything, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, I need all the hype in the chat. I need all the love and admiration from my man, my boy, Stefan Thomas. Stefan, my brother, how are you?
Let's go. Oh, I'm excited. It is late. I mean, late, at least based on where you're tuning if you're from the GTA, from the 6th, but I'm feeling good, man. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Of course, man. And like again, you've done so much. Like so much in such a little amount of time. It's truly tremendous to see you winning in life for what you're doing.
For sure, man. I appreciate you so much, man. It's really cool to see you doing this. Uh, Needless to say, this is the first radio show I've been on. So shout out to you just for doing the work, collaborating with folks in the city, and just helping to really elevate the work that people do, man. So my big shout out to you for that.
Much love, much love. And I see people in the chat. I see my sister's like tuning in from my Uber. That is crazy. She's like, you know what? I'm not home, but I'm still watching the show.
Oh, she getting the gems wherever she goes.
Yeah.
That's what you call a she's a good one.
Yeah, for real. Hey, listen, like I said, we're gonna have to get those notepads out today. There's gonna be a lot of gems, insights dropping. So, guys, get your pens, click clack. Imaginary pens, what it is, click clack. Get your notepads. We're gonna get into it, but again, Stefan, thank you for coming on the show. We're gonna talk about your personal experience, your upcoming, your upbringing, the stuff you're doing right now with youth. We're gonna talk about that TED Talk because we gotta break it down into pieces, But before we get into everything, we usually start off with our opening segment, which is the hot seat. I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and I want you to just answer them to your best abilities, okay?
Say no more.
Okay, perfect. So, first question. Outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in 1 sentence.
Okay, about myself in 1 sentence. I am a complete foodie.
Hey, listen. I don't know if there's a certain someone watching, but I don't want to spill names, but I hope she's watching because you know what's funny enough. I don't want to cut you off in time. I just came back from the rec room with a group of amazing people, and there's
Yeah.
a specific someone who's a foodie. So I hope she's watching this, but there's a connection. I'm gonna let you continue and expand on that. You being an absolute foodie.
Oh man, like so usually there's a lot of things that are not my cup of tea to do on my spare time, right? So you're not gonna really catch me in certain spaces, but the one place or various places you will catch me is in a new restaurant, right? So I love just finding new spots, especially so in Toronto, on Yonge Street, right? There's like 10 million like restaurants on that one street. So I absolutely love taking the time, whether it be with my wife, with my boys, my guys, and just finding a new spot to try food, and just pig out. Like food and combo is where my heart is. So I love food, all types of food as well.
Dude, you have to put me on low key. I need to go out more and explore, especially when it comes to the restaurant. So you have to put me on after this. I ain't gonna lie.
I got you, man. I got you.
All right, much love. Okay, going on to the second question. I want you to name a moment where in your line of work you motivated a young student, someone who at the time being just needed the right words, the right advice, and you were able to give that level of motivation. I want you to pick one specific. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult, but if you can think about one in the back of your head right now, what would it be?
That is a difficult one because there are a lot of moments. I think top of mind. So there was a student. What happens? What's pretty frequent in my work. So as an academic advisor at the University of Toronto, the goal is to advise students on their trajectory, right? Make sure they're in the right programs, the right courses to get to their end goal. So quite frequently, I got to talk to students who unfortunately get suspended from the university because of their grades. Never a fun conversation to have. So I remember there was this one specific person who walked into the office, and when I met them, they were on probation. They just got on suspension. They just came back, and they were really working to make it through just the grades and the challenges of the courses they took. And I gave them so much motivation, so much support. They put their head down, they grinded, they did the thing, they showed up, and they still didn't get the grades they needed. And they ended up going on suspension for a year. And I remember in that
Wow.
moment, I felt crushed for them um, because like we tried so hard. But I think the most motivating thing I was able to tell them in that moment was like, hey, this moment sucks. Like we're not gonna like beat around the bush, but the fact that you showed up for yourself and you passed all your courses, right? You didn't fail any of your courses. Yeah, your GPA wasn't where it needed to be, but you still passed. And that was a win. So I used that moment to show them, like, hey, like life will bring us wins, but sometimes they'll still feel like losses. But how do we lean into the thing that was a win and use it as a reminder that, you know what, I might feel like I lost now, but I'm going to use this to come back better. And when I do come back, I'm going to be stronger and I'm going to get to the goal that I need to get to in life, even though I'm dealing with a minor setback right now. So I think that lives rent free in my mind. And they came back and now they're thriving. And I'm really happy to see them in that space.
That's amazing. Like you mentioned, they're now thriving. So those words didn't fall on deaf ears. Like there was something that they took away. And I'm glad you shared that because we assume that we're giving advice to people. It's the matter of, okay, like the advice I'm giving, I'm expecting something good. But again, life plays in a way where that's not the case. But
Yeah,
saying afterwards, hey, you showed up. That's important. That I think for anyone who might be going through those struggles, those trials, and when they see that failure, they just think to themselves, well, this person is just probably be like, well, at least you tried. But it's like, no, like you showed up and you kept, in it, even when, there was a point in that process you could have just
so
stopped and just not done nothing.
absolutely. You got to keep riding that wave.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Going on to the next question. I want you to tell everyone an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Rarely
Hmm.
a hard one. Okay. Well, there there is an interesting one that I share all the time, so I can't share that. And I'm proud of it. But I guess I'll. Okay, you know what? I don't share it as often as I think people think. So, interesting fact about me, and when I say pride to the max, I cannot ride a bike.
Dude, I'm the same. I'm the same. I ain't gonna lie. So, dude, it's okay. You feel like the pride is like, oh man, the pride dropped. No, the pride it got more. It increased because I'm in the same boat.
Okay, you're saying, well, perfect. But you know what I tell folks? I can swim, and that's what matters. So if you got to
Mm,
pick one of the other, riding a bike can't save your life, man, but swimming can. And that's why I have a lot of pride in it.
that's fair. That's totally fair. Honestly, like I don't know what it is. Like I tried riding the bike, and it's just a matter of I don't know. I just never got into it. I tried multiple times. It just never clicked with me. So
For sure.
it is what it is. But I mean, for anyone who can't ride a bike, you're loved. Don't worry. Don't let people ridicule you.
Join the squad. For me, it was the fear of dropping and not wanting to scrape up myself. So I said, I don't got the time for that. Might as well just put my efforts and energy into somewhere else. I've got enough scrapes for other reasons. So
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's fair. That's totally fair. All right. Going to the final question here for this hot seat segment. What is your personal safe room? So, what is a safe space? And the
Ooh,
safe space could be physical, mental, emotional, that allows you to be your authentic self.
that's a good question. That's a really good question. So, personal safe room is just can be physical. It's ultimately just a space that allows me to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll be honest. So, the first thing that came to mind for me, this is just for me. I think my personal safe room is not necessarily a physical place. Um, like I can create it anywhere, but ultimately it's like prayer for me. So my faith is something that's truly like deep to my core. I always tell folks that before there was Stefan, before there was Stefan the TEDx speaker, Stefan the motivational speaker, the advisor at U of T, the children's book author, it was really just Stefan, right? Um, and I think for me, my entire life very different person if you met me like high school. Um, Not different personalities, but ultimately, what has ground me through my entire life is being able to go to that safe room, that safe place, I can call it, and just like tap into like prayer in my relationship with with God, right? So I find that's what allows me to get through even this stage of my life when things are chaotic. Like you mentioned, if it's a busy week, if it's an off week, if I'm going through like challenges, when I'm in a space where things aren't going how I want it to go, if we can be honest, you set goals out there and it's just not, it's tanking, right? I find I'm always able to go to that safe room, that safe place, and just really ground myself, um, and kind of disconnect from all the stuff in the world, even when nothing's going wrong. I find there's so much goes on in society, and it's really important for me in order to do what I desire to do and have the impact I want to have to disconnect from all the things, all the noise, and kind of go into that safe room, safe place. So I think that would be my answer. It allows me to show up better in all the other places that are safe rooms for me, whether it be my friendships, my marriage, any other space.
100%. And to be honest, Stefan, there's a lot of people that come on the show and say that exact answer. So again, there is a level of relatability and just again keeping that close relationship with God, wanting to keep him at the hold. A lot of people use God as, part of their business model. I know it sounds like a little cliche, but they allow God to be that wheel or that navigator of what they do with their moves, how they act, how they show up, how they present themselves. It's important.
Yeah, 100%. I won't even get ahead, but I'll go as far to say resilience, my resilience model isn't possible without the element of my faith, right? So that's what's worked for me. I can't really sure it works for others, but I've seen it work many times for me, and that's what allows me to stay grounded and in that safe place, not just like physically, but really mentally, right? That sober place mentally, no matter the storm. So
Yeah, 100%. I also see Dave in Productions one comment. That's a good point. Again, prayer is important. So, again, there's a lot of people who resonate with that. And I love that for you, man. I feel like we're a lot of people, we got to start putting God into more that we do. Like a lot of people just feel to leave him out. And I don't understand. It's like, oh, well, let me just talk to like the universe. And again, I'm not really like
mhm,
judging whatever you believe in, like God, the universe. If you're manifesting, that's fine. But for myself, it's always been my relationship to God. Just being grateful that I get to be on this earth here, standing with you. Yes, I'm standing, guys, because I have a standing desk. I ain't sitting down. And being able to have these conversations with
yeah,
every single one of you guys. So I'm very grateful for that. So I appreciate the answer, Stefan. Again, for those who are just trickling right now, again, you're listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Again, this is a space where we focus on insights, innovation, and inspiration. The three eyes, if you
ooh,
may say, listen, that might be the new slogan moving forward. I ain't gonna lie. So you guys, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, you're commenting, and you're subscribing to Love Bay Radio here on YouTube. We're live on YouTube, LinkedIn. TikTok, the radio station. You already know all the fixins. Like I always say, all the fixins. Okay. Also, make sure you guys give a donation as well. It helps to the work that we're doing here at Love Bay Radio. And you can reach us at 437-783-3299. Okay. I'm gonna repeat it multiple times, so don't think I'm just gonna be doing this once. I'm gonna keep reminding you, okay? It helps a lot. The team here is amazing. So again, we're doing this for you guys. We want to make sure we're giving you the best experiences possible. So again, go check us out there, give a donation, go find us as well on Google Play and the App Store to download. So without further ado, I think we now get into the main questions. So Stefan, I do want to talk about just your experience working with youth and how that got started. Because I remember, I believe it was the Black Friday conference we first met.
It was, I think it was, I don't even remember the organization.
It was all black market.
Was All Black Market. Yeah, we connected after the event. I remember.
Yeah, so I mean, hearing some of the work that you were doing at the time and even now is incredible. I want to ask you, based on your work itself, does your passion for wanting to help the youth and realize not only their resilience but their brilliance as well and what they can do in their career path, does it stem from a personal experience that you went through, or was it more of something you kind of stumble upon and it gave you that revelation that this is something I really want to step in and make a significant impact in?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. I think it it stemmed from personal situations, um, and conviction, which I'll get into through the story. So ultimately, I think I grew up in community, right? Community has always been a big part of my life. There's the faith element of my community that I grew up in, and then there's just the, I'll just say, community recreational side of my life that I grew up in. So spent my summers going to summer camp, spent a lot of my life going to, church, stuff like that. But it wasn't really until I went into university, right? Or that transition of my life where you got to figure out, what do you got to do? Like, what do you want to do? That's all everybody always asks you when you're in high school, when you're growing up, like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? And for me, it was always a hard thing to figure out, as I assume it is for a lot of people. I was always intentional to do the work to figure it out because I didn't want to go about life just winging it, if that makes sense. And it's different for some people, but growing up in certain parts of the GTA, I'll put it that way, you see a lot of things, right? And for me, the goal was always how do I live a life of purpose? Like, purpose was always a question that I had from young. Like, what is purpose? What is my purpose? And not just what is it, what can I do to see that purpose become a reality? And so, in pursuing that, a part of that ties to our career, right? And for me, I was inundated with all the societal expectations of what you should do in your career. Become a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, a business person, all the typical Caribbean expectations of what you should do. So for me, it didn't align with that because the only thing that came to my mind was I either want to be a musician on the streets of New York or be a public motivational speaker. And I remember my dad said, well, you can't be a musician because they don't get paid on the streets of New York. That's not going to take care of no family. And the second resort in my mind, I'm like, well, who goes to school for speaking? So I resorted to accounting in finance. And literally within my first few months of going to my business program, I was just like, this is not the space for me. I can't see myself doing this for 40 years. So I went through that period of dropping out, transferring out of business school, going to a brand new university, a brand new program. And in the midst of that journey of transitioning and figuring out what was for me, I started to realize that I had this conviction to help other young people, other youth, navigate the different, number one, character things that would prevent them from being all they wanted to be and achieving the success they wanted to achieve. So I'll jump on IG. It was like pre-COVID, before content creator was even a thing, right? I'd be jumping on IG with the horrible setup and posting videos about, compassion or self-esteem or confidence or determination. And I started realizing other youth in the city, students I'd go to school with on my campus would start to really like flock to that video and information. And I think it goes through that I realized how much I had a passion to see youth develop. Because there's so many things in this world that is helping youth develop in the wrong ways. But I'm like, where are all the things and the resources and just the motivation to help youth develop in the right way, to feed their mind, to feed their goals, to feed their passion. So I think through that and witnessing so many youth leave high school and not know what they want to do, it really started to burn this, have this burning desire in me to help people figure out what that was and help them walk that journey until they can see that through to the end.
100%. I think what's so important too, like you mentioned, for a lot of students, when they don't know what they want to do and they leave school, you stepping in to assist and guide them in the way that you can, it also prevents those pathways where they may go down a much darker path. And obviously, we see it. People will leave school, and
Yeah,
sometimes, like they say, like the streets is your oyster. Like you open up and you see what you see, and you latch onto it. You latch onto it to a point where that becomes your full identity moving
yeah,
forward. And again, I don't want to generalize anyone here who's listening, but there's probably lived experiences who could testify that, yeah, you know what? I left school and I didn't know what to do. It was either get a job or just kind of like figure things out on my own. And, there's always been different representations of what happens to folks when they drop out of school. Obviously, like the more prominent one is like, you're on the streets, like, if you're a road man, like you're doing this and doing that. But even for people who don't do that, like you drop out of school and maybe you're just kind of bouncing around, whether it's like trying to find a job, but again, there's no level of stability and you're just asking a bunch of questions like why am I still stuck in this position? Why am I still going in this cycle? So I think for yourself, being able to realize that off of you started an accountant, like again, like accountant, and it's like that's like nope, it ain't for me.
not for
But
me, man.
yeah, but also being able to see the things that you were experiencing and what was going on with youth as well. I think it really speaks to your heart as well, how you are that tendon, loving person who wants to see people realize their potential.
Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely it. Like, and I love the word you use, realize their potential. Sometimes it just takes somebody to help someone else realize that it was always there. It is there. And I think for me, that's the most heartbreaking thing when I come across individuals. I'll use my words wisely. I was gonna say hate. It's not that I hate it, but one of the things I don't like is when I encounter people and it's always like, hey, like, yo, I'm trying to be like you. Like, don't be like me. Don't be like me. I want you to see like who you are, like what you can be. I always tell folks I'm not that smart. A little bit, but I'm not that smart.
He's like, hold on, let me retort that. No, no, don't play. Talk to
Little
me
bit.
nicely. I'm smart, but like not crazy, crazy.
Just a tad bit, but like all I really am is a person with a dream and who has a lot of faith that this dream is possible. And I work hard to see it come to pass. Like that's all I am. So whenever people are like, man, like TEDx talk, I said, well, when are you gonna do your TEDx talk? Like, why don't you believe you have something to say? Oh, children's book author. Well, when are you gonna put up your book? Because I know you got a lot to say. You got a lot to say in those comments sometimes, right? So like for me, my goal for youth and for adults, but mainly my vein is students right now, is yeah, to use my experiences to only show people that, hey, you can do this and so much more. That's really the heart behind everything I do. What are you going through right now? What are those challenges? How do we embrace the fact that, yeah, they're hard, but how do we embrace the fact that you are harder than those challenges? You can grow and move past those challenges. That's all I desire to do in everything I do, so I can help people realize what they're meant to do and live that. um, before that last birthday take.
100%. You mentioned TED Talk. That was literally my next like transition. I wanted to get into that for sure because again, that's an incredible feat. Not a lot of people can say they've done a TED Talk, and I would always see it when I was in middle school and high school. They would show these videos, and I remember watching. I'm like, yo, these are like they look stupid. Like I'm like, yo, what? Like, what are these people like trying to like? What are they? I literally thought like when I saw TED Talks when I was young, like this was some type of scam or like sales pitches. Like, oh, they're trying to like sell some like products or like some type of message. And guys, I'm telling you right now, like now I want to do one. I'm planning for 2026. Like we
Come
we need
on,
to do one.
come on. That's what I'm talking about. I feel you. It's like, who's this random person on my school screen in my classroom?
100%. So I want you to like break down how that experience was. Like, what did it mean to go from
Mm,
someone who started in accounting to now doing that TED Talk? And like, what was the feeling? How were
yeah.
you going through the motions? And also, like, what is the preparation for something like that? I'm kind of picking your brain because I'm low-key trying to take notes myself.
No, I got it. I can give you all the gems. So it was TEDx Talk. I think they're pretty specific with the difference. So TEDx Talk is
Hmm.
more independently ran TED events, and TED is the biggest stage. So God willing, I'll get to the TED stage. But TEDx is still very much valid and incredible. But what it really was, I've always had that. I won't say always. I think when I really embraced the call to be a public speaker, a motivational speaker. That's what some people call it. For me, it wasn't really about fame. It was about how do I get my voice and my message to the people who need it the most. And the reality is, as I would really grow and learn, is that it's impossible to get your message where it needs to go if there's not a platform for it, right?
Hmm.
So, what better platform but the TED stage, the TEDx stage, right? So I think for me, I had always seen a lot of stuff about TED. I'm like, yo, how do you get on the stage and what's the process? But I'm a little bit weird in the sense that sometimes I'll have a goal and there's moments where I'm like, okay, let's just do it. We're not prepared, but we're gonna dive out there anyhow. Like that's how my speaking like journey began. Like after putting it out for so many years and starting in university, jumped on Canva, made a graphic, said I'm a speaker, do some topics, do that, just do that thing out there. But with the TED, process, I said, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm in this speaking space for a little bit and I'm really maturing myself. I'm learning how to speak, learning how to communicate, learning cadence and volume and tone and all these things. So I had seen different folks go on TEDx talks who I knew, and I'd see different postings, and I'd watch videos, and I remember I'd keep an actual TEDx stage. I downloaded a photo from Google of a TEDx stage, and I kept it on my phone. And every so often, I'll just look at that photo and I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna be on this stage one day. And it wasn't until 2024 I was on my first year anniversary trip with my wife, and we're just kicking at the pool, and we're talking about our goals and our dreams. And I said, like, one of my goals is like I have to get on a TEDx stage between this date, it was August 2024, and June 2025. I said it is like a must. Um, Put it down, like wrote it down, write the vision, make it plain, like prayed about it. I said, like, yo, like this has to happen. And I remember I came back from that trip and I like locked all the way in. Like, so this is not the process. So it's not as hard as people think. What I tell people to do is TED, like the actual website, TED has a event locator where it tells you all the TEDx events that are happening in fundamentally each nation. So I was able to search it up and be like, okay, Canada, TEDx, and it would literally tell me all the TEDx events that are happening in each province across Canada based on if they had posted already and the dates of them as well. And all I said, I'm like, okay, cool. I said, which ones are feasible based on distance, right? And based on my capacity and based on the deadline. And I would literally write down all the TEDx events that I wanted to speak at, some in the States as well. I went to all their websites and started to scope out what is the deadline to submit the application. And then I wrote all those deadlines down in order. And once I had that, all that was left to do was to ultimately ask myself, what is the idea that I have that's worth sharing? Because a lot of people have a misconception about TEDx. They think, oh, you just go on a stage and just talk about anything. But TEDx is very specific in the sense, and TED is it has to be an idea that's unique, and you have a unique perspective to sharing that idea around a topic. So your story can be entwined in that, but they're not just looking for people with good stories. They're looking ultimately for an idea. So I did the legwork before I applied. I went on YouTube, what not to do when you apply to TEDx, what to do, what is it about, what to consider, how do you stand out. And at that point, all I did was I said, okay, well, what's the idea that I find deeply convicting, that I really believe everybody needs to hear? And it was that one idea around how we go about choosing our careers in life. And because I believed it so much and I teach the philosophy of how I believe students and people should choose the career for their life, I said, dang, I got my idea. All I got to do is just tweak the idea to the theme of each TEDx event that I'm applying to. And the last thing I'll say is the genius thing to do is to not put your eggs in one basket, right? How many applications can you throw out there? Because the more you throw out there, yeah, you're going to get some rejections. Yeah, you're going to get ghosted, but somebody has to get back to you. And in that one attempt, I had maybe put out like 10 applications. I got responses from 3 events. I did interviews for 3 events, and I got accepted from the one I did, which was, I'm happy that was the one I did. And it was just a great experience. So,
That's amazing, man. I was literally like typing up like event locator. I see there's one happening at TMU. There's one happening.
yep, TMU, Western, Queens, U of T, UTSC, McGill, like there was like they were like clockwork in my mind. And what I did, I followed all the pages on IG, so I'd get the notification when they would put out applications, because that's also the piece people miss. Each event, they're led by students, at least the university-based ones. There are the city-based ones, so TEDx Toronto, TEDx Montreal, TEDx Ottawa, TEDx, New York. Those are more larger regional ones where most times, if they might not have applications, they might actually go seeking for people, and that's where you get into a bigger ballpark of like influencers and things of that nature. But the easiest way to get in is going through the university ones, because there's so many of them, and it makes it a lot more of an even playing field for anybody.
Yeah, 100%. I have to write down that date, February 6th. I'm about to pull up. Like, just know I'm about to pull up and just like, let them know. Like, I'm about to walk into every room, every space, and be like, "Yo, Sean Williams, TEDx Talk 2026."
Absolutely. You gotta put that demand, right? And I think that's a part of why I was able to see it happen, right? Like, now here's the thing: you can put goals out, and I know people get into vision boards and whatever, but there's a reason why people do it. My version of a vision board is just praying, but I still write down those visions. I just write it down in a notebook, right? But the point is, writing that down is the first step, but you got to then say that thing and do the work for that thing. And I think that's where people fall off, because it's just like, well, it's too much work, the application's taking too much time. And well, if it's taking too much time, then maybe you don't want it as bad as you think you want it. And for me, I said, this is like a must. It has to happen. It will happen. And I'm going to do the work to make sure that the application shows the people why they shouldn't look anywhere else.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, again, for people who are just tuning in, you're coming in right now. Listen, you missed probably a very fantastic conversation so far, but it's okay. You're here now. Okay, so again, this is the safe room here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I'm here with my man Stefan Thomas, Mr. TEDx talker himself, Mr. Big Shot. You know what it is. You know what it do. Again, this is a space where we offer entrepreneurs insights, innovation, and inspiration. Again, like, share, and comment, and subscribe. We're on YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, on the radio station live right now at the moment. Make sure you go download the app as well in the App Store, on Google Play as well. Again, give a donation. We do a lot here on Love Bay Radio, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. And every contribution really helps a lot. So again, make sure you guys are reaching out to us, 437-783-3299, ladies and gentlemen. So, and I see Chanel also giving her comments. Gems are being dropped. Bruh, you don't even know. It's not gems, like diamonds, rubies, sapphire, whatever you want to name. All of it's being dropped. Guys, I apologize if it feels like my energy is like it's very bouncy. I have to. It's been a long day. I have to get my energy up.
We love the energy. We need the energy.
I appreciate it, man. So I want to go back to your work when it comes to youth resilience. So what would you say looks like a typical day for you? And I really want to ask this question. I don't ask this question to anyone at all, really. I don't get specific, like what does a typical day look for you, but I know our phone calls. And I feel every time I ask you how you doing, the only answer I hear is like I'm busy. Like that's the only answer I hear.
Yeah.
So I would love to know, like, what does a usual day look for you, and some of the things that you really focus when it comes to working with youth, whether it's like in workshops, with schools, or universities, colleges, different programs. Like, what is the things that you really focus on a day to day basis?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a full question. So my days are very unique. It's really every one of my days is really like a person who's juggling. That's really the best symbolism I can give. I'm always juggling something. Not something that I really desire to do for a long period of time, but it's just the nature of how my life is right now. But ultimately, I split my time between the work I do as an academic advisor at the University of Toronto. So I spent a few days in the office doing that at the campus. Then I spent a couple other days working on uh, my youth speaking business, traveling to schools or traveling to conferences, whether here in Canada or in the States, really helping schools and students develop the resilience to persist through the challenges they go through to get to that end goal, whether it be graduation, whether it be university, whether it be that new job, whether it be starting that business. The goal is to help them build that strategy of resilience through skills that can help them build it, whether it's courage, compassion, connection that leads to community, commitment. That's the goal setting aspect. So on the days where I'm working with the university, it's a lot of juggling of my mind. I'm there, I'm hands on, advising students about the right programs they want to take and the courses necessary for that, but also really threading in the self development piece, helping them become a lot more strategic about the why. If anybody knows me, I always talk about intentionality, but I always talk about your why. And for me, why is not just like, oh, like this passion. No, why for me, as you would probably know from the TEDx talk, is what is the problem you want to be a solution to? Who are you trying to serve in this world? What is the impact, the legacy you want to make through what you think you want to do? And I always say a strong why leads to a strong what. So that is something that I'm really helping students think about as I'm helping them choose the programs they think they want to do. So I'm doing that. Sometimes a lot of those appointments feel like counseling because you got students crying and GPA is not high enough, or don't want to go on suspension, or I don't want to do this. My parents want me to, or not good enough. So it often feels like a lot of counseling for me. And outside of that, it's really using my spare time, my lunch or after work, um, doing my best to engage with my wife and just being present there, but juggling that with my commitment to my business, right? It never turns off. So I'm always thinking about my business. I got to do marketing, social media, got to do administration, outreach to schools and conferences. I got to do the bookkeeping, which isn't fun. And then I still got to find time to speak. So that's a lot of my time right now developing better systems, I'd say, for my business. so work can get done without me having to be the jack of all trades, doing everything. But at the moment, that's what I do, juggling everything every day.
I love that, and I just want to give you your flowers right now. You're doing an incredible job managing all that. Me, I feel like I'm now starting that arc. It's not fun. It is definitely
Uh,
not fun.
yeah, not enough sleep, and that's the one thing with some of my coaches, and it's also something I keep saying on socials. I'm working on rest, working on pace. People who are closest to me will be like, Stefan, what are you talking about? But it's a goal I keep putting out there because I'm such a hard goal getter. And if I set my mind to a goal, I have to get it done. I sometimes get it done at the deficit of my health, right? So if sleep has to be deprived, sleep has to be deprived. And very frequently, my hours of sleep is usually about 5 hours, which just isn't healthy. And my mind just doesn't turn off because I'm just always thinking about the next thing, the next goal, the next part of the system, the next idea. And when you're in that moment, it's like you can't allow it to slip. And you probably know this as an entrepreneur and as a radio talk show host and all the things. Like once you get that idea, one of the keys to entrepreneurship is momentum and speed, right? And once you get that wind of creativity, you have to lock into it in that moment, write it down, work at it, flesh it out. So I think because of that, my mind's just always going. Even social media, I can't go on IG without like not seeing a post and thinking about my business or my marketing or my brand or my self development. So it's so hard for it to just be a down space for me because I'm always thinking about.
Yeah, honestly, I call it SMG, like social media guilt. You know, when like you're scrolling through, you see someone makes a post like, "Oh, I just was at this conference and this summit." It's just like, dang, I'm sitting down doing nothing. Let me get up and like
Do
go
something.
to work.
And you know what? It's funny you mention that. That's part of the reason why it's either that I'm getting older or I'm getting more intentional. I find myself um, really staying away from social media, which is hard because I need it for what I do. But I've added that layer of intentionality because I know how easy it is for us as humans to slip into that comparison trap. And the worst thing you can do, especially if you're in a space where you're really encouraging yourself to do a thing, is to go on social media and doom scroll for hours of other people doing the thing if you already don't have the full confidence that you can do it yourself. So I sometimes stay away from social media for that reason, or if I know I want to do a thing, but I don't have the capacity to do a thing, I don't want to be on social media watching someone else do a thing if I know my heart wants to do the thing. Because then I'm just going to be like, darn, like I want to do that. I can't do that because of my life capacity right now. And now I just got to watch someone else do it. And I don't want to be a consumer, especially in this phase of my life. I don't want to be a consumer. My goal is to only be someone who puts out stuff and puts out good stuff to combat all the trash. Unfortunately, that is just muddying up our timelines. So that's the love hate relationship with socials and just the juggling act of my life.
100%. I could totally relate to that because, again, I feel for myself, again, I'm going through my arc when it comes to hectic projects. Obviously, I have my show.
Mhm.
I have an announcement that I wanted to say last week, but I didn't get the chance. I'll save it for the end, but it's pertaining to like just my busy schedule. I currently also have a group of university students who are helping me to rebuild my website. If anyone
Always
has heard of Ripen,
ripen.
Lifesaver,
Hmm.
trust me, like it's like a great platform where if you want to post a project and get students to come in, buy
Hmm.
your time back, it's all government funded as well. So it helps them a lot to get that experience under their belt, and you're able to work with them, guide them along the ropes. I would definitely recommend it. So a lot of that's been happening. Also taking on other like side ventures as well at the moment. I'm in another mentorship program at the time being. So again, like I feel like every day there's always something going on. There's not one day where I'm resting, but like you mentioned, I think for a lot of people who might be experiencing this, even if it's not on the level that Stefan and I go on a day to day basis, it's having that why. Like if you're doing all this, like what's your why? What is the one thing that's driving you? And your why doesn't have to be anything that's business related. If you're doing this, to be a provider for your family, then that's your why. If you're doing it because you want to show up for yourself, that's your why. But when you have the why, it's able to do the what and the how much easier.
You're the one dropping gems, man. Jeez.
dude, honestly, I'm not gonna lie with you. I've thought about doing like public speaking. At the same time, it's like I hear how other people talk, and it's just like it's not that I doubt myself. I like, would I say that without even knowing that I said that? Like that's what I think in the back of my head.
For sure. Well, let me challenge you. Like you are doing public speaking right now, right? And I think for me, it's something I tell my wife all the time. I'm gonna shout her out because she's a spoken word artist, and I always challenge people. I said like and this was my issue when I wanted to go into public speaking out of high school, and I just didn't have context. We've only normalized speaking to be, oh, I'm standing on a stage with a mic. Sorry, I feel but like we are public speakers every day. Like our life is telling a story, right? So I think for us, like what if we all sat back and said, like, man, like I'm a public speaker. I'm going to my job. What story, what message am I telling to my colleagues through the small conversations I have, through how I do my work? Like what am I speaking to the public? Right? Um, like we're all public speakers. So you leading the talk show every week and coming up with these gems and the ability to flow in and out of conversation is you speaking publicly. It's just a different modality that you do it through. So I challenge you, man, to think about that.
Yeah, honestly, I appreciate that. It's making me think for sure. Again, like I do want to do a TEDx talk. I really do. And I've thought about some couple of topics. So guys, like keep an eye out for that. I might do like some type of documentary style too, just to kind of keep up with that. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I want to actually switch gears a bit, Stefan, and go into a role play exercise. So basically, let's just pretend like you're not talking to me. This is not Sean. This is completely different person, and I basically want to treat it sort of like an introductory call. Me who's a little bit curious about the work that you do, and let's say, for example, I'm someone who works for a institution, for a university. Let's for the sake of this, let's just say UFT. Just UFT. I don't know why UFT came in the back of my head, but we're just gonna say UFT. And let's just say I'm looking to bring you in to speak to a group of undergraduates who are currently a little unsure about what they're doing right now with their programs, just long-term careers, and I'm trying to like get you on board for that. Is that cool?
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay, cool. You know what? To make things fun, I'll let you give me a name. So again, I'm not Sean, but who do you want me to be?
Okay. Because it's the first name that came to my mind and it sounds funny, I'm gonna call you Charles.
Charles. I like it. I like it a lot, man. Okay, perfect. So here we go. Here we go. Hey, Stefan. So nice to meet you. I was scrolling through your IG and I really love the stuff that you're doing. It made me actually want to go to your LinkedIn. And may I just say, you're doing some amazing things. I really love what you're doing. And for someone like myself, working at UFT, I work with a lot of students and they tell me the exact same thing, that they're a little unsure with their programs, but more importantly, just what they want to do afterwards with their degrees. I've heard some people say, I want to go into full time work, but I'm not sure exactly where. A lot of them are really questioning where they want to do, and it's based on just with courses, just the stress, the burnout. And I really want to bring in someone that's gonna not only motivate them but realize that it's a part of life and you need to go through those things. But again, I can't really say it as well. I only observe and see and kind of assess. I'm hoping you could speak about it, but again, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about your background, so that way I could get a little bit more of a idea of how we could collaborate together.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, I appreciate you even reaching out and finding me. I'm just curious before I go on into that. You said you came across my IG and my LinkedIn, and you thought I would be a good fit. What specifically stood out to you that made you think I would be the right fit to serve your students?
So I was on your IG and I heard some of the content that you were doing, just like all the speeches and just the little tidbits, the 30-second thoughts that you would give out. And I thought that was very moving. So I wanted to do a little bit deeper of a dive on your LinkedIn to see your work experience. And I saw that you've collaborated with other universities as well. You've collaborated with Queens, University of Waterloo. We're great partners with them. And I thought, okay, this is a gentleman that really loves to go out there, help folks, work in the community, and he's genuine too. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't give off that genuineness, and I can definitely see that.
For sure. Well, hey, appreciate you sharing that. It's a great feedback for me to hear. And I guess one more question for you. So, specifically about your students and some of those, I guess, pain points that I hear you sharing about them, what do you feel is the impact of some of those things that they're going through um, after just the situations they're going through?
Yeah, so for a lot of the students, we did unfortunately go through a period where there was a strike and it went on for much longer than expected. Like it was supposed to be for a couple weeks, it went for like 3 months. And a lot of students were going through issues where it was also exam season. So a lot of things were being pushed back, and most of the students started to find stress within that period. They were telling me, Sir, I just don't feel in the right headspace. I'm not feeling well. And plus, a lot of them are getting ready to graduate and go into the workforce. And some of them are even unsure of where they want to go. So I just want to create just a level of positivity, but also a level of calmness within them. So that way they know at the end of the day, yes, things are going to be happening, but you don't have to be down and be unsure about your future, because there are things that you could take away from someone like yourself that I could bring in and hopefully motivate. Again, I'm not the best. I usually deal with all the computers and behind the scenes stuff.
For sure. Well, hey, we got to value the computers and behind the scenes. But I appreciate you sharing more about some of those things that they're going through. And I can only imagine how challenging that must be, not just for them, but as a support staff who's really trying to help them navigate through that. So I feel like that's exactly in alignment with what I do. And as you've mentioned, through the work I've done with, Queens or Waterloo or any other institution, they often bring me in to really help kind of bridge that gap in students' mind between their current adversity, what I call waves of adversities or waves of challenges, and connect that to a positive but resilient mindset to help them see that, hey, just because I'm going through a thing or just because something happened to me, whether it be a strike, whether it be a pandemic, whether it be a breakup, whether it be a bad grade, my goal and my mission is to help students ultimately see their self as capable and able to navigate those challenges with the right strategies and tools and support systems and keep navigating and riding that wave until they're able to get back in a position, whether that adversity leaves or not, right? So I ultimately think there'll be a lot of synergy and just a real ability to help create that safe space and a safe room for these students to remember that they can thrive and that they are resilient, whether they feel the feeling of resilience or not. And they are more than capable to keep persisting towards the goals that they have in mind.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Stefan. That really helps a lot, not from only what the students can get, but even for myself. I definitely learned a couple things from the words that you share. So I'll just kind of be brief because I do got to hop on another call. Just it's a busy environment. We're looking to bring you in if you're open to it. Probably the next 4 months, so somewhere around May, June-ish, and we want you to speak at one of our events just to again motivate some of the students, allowing them to get a sense of your perspective and like what you are able to help with filling in that gap. And we would love to connect with you in the next couple of weeks in person and talk to the entire board so that way they can get to know you a little bit better.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I look forward to serving you and your students, and creating that space where we all can thrive and where you all as staff can continue to thrive in your work and supporting them. So I look forward to connecting and just building the rapport and the relationship.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Stefan. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. My pleasure.
All right. Yeah, simple as that. Role play. Again, this is Love Bay's favorite time. Like the role play exercise, they love it the most.
It's cool. It's realistic, and I feel like it's really helpful to help people put themselves in, just visualize themselves being in that position. So it was really cool for me. I liked it.
Yeah, 100%. Again, for people who are just tuning in, we're unfortunately about to wrap up soon. So, but again, we appreciate you stepping in. This is the Safe Room here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, where entrepreneurs find innovation, insight, and inspiration. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe. I don't want to keep repeating it. If you haven't done it, do it now. Pause what you're doing, go do the 4, and then come back here and get excited again. Please again visit the website for Love Bay and make a donation. Every contribution helps us continue to do the things that we are doing right now. 437-783-3299. Listen, I need y'all to put that in the comments. 32. Anytime I do 32, I'm gonna lean in. Y'all gonna say 99, okay? Please do so. We're live on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the fixins on the radio station. Before we wrap things up, I do have a closing activity. Now, for people who've been watching the show since day one, y'all like to roast me because, oh, Sean, you're never prepared. On the contrary, this year I'm prepared because I have a consistent one, okay? So we're going to keep it simple, and that's just how it's going to be. So, Stefan, I want to ask you, do you have your phone on you
Yes, I
by any
do.
chance? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Whatever music device, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you use, right? I
Hmm.
want you to click shuffle. And the first song that comes up, I want you to explain what does that song mean to you.
I was about to say I'm old because how you find shuffle? Oh man, that's hilarious.
What'd you
Spotify.
get?
Try to figure that, like, when you're on Spot, I'm a Spotify guy, so for me it's just like when the playlist and like the album start to mix together. I said, what is going on here? So it's just a song. It's like, why can't we just find regular songs? Like,
I mean, if to make things easier, like if you could think of like a song that just sticks out to you, like or like represents who you are, what would it be?
that's a good question. I've never thought about that question before. Oh, that's hilarious. I think the one that's coming up. I like the idea of just whatever song just comes up, you got to explain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just happened to be the first song that popped up in the shuffle. I feel like it's gonna. So it says, I don't know if y'all can see, but it says energy,
Oh wow.
right? And it's quite a vibe. I feel like this is the perfect explanation of me. Um, yeah, it's just like everywhere I go, I'm big on exuding positive energy to people and just really being energetic. Now, hit or miss, depending on my day, I'm very calm, laid back, but I feel like energy is a lot about my personality, my smile. One thing I really try to do always is give a contagious smile, what I call it, because you just never know where people are in life. And, what if my smile can be the one smile you needed in your day to make your day better, right? So I feel like energy is something, whether I'm tired, if I worked a long shift, every space I
Mm-hmm.
show up to, I'm gonna show up with as much energy as I can until I gotta lay my head on my pillow because people deserve that.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so guys, just know this is gonna be the closing activity every single time. So no one coming at me. Oh, he's only prepared this week. We gonna be prepared every single time. Okay. Cut the noise. I'm sorry. Like,
I love it.
Stefan, if you knew, like,
Yep.
people roast me. They roast me like, oh boy, because I would always tell my guests too. Like, I would come up with this like literally like before we go live.
For
Like,
sure.
so
I like this one, man. I like this one.
I
Solid.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. But that's all the time we got for tonight, Stefan. Thank you coming on. I appreciate your time, your energy as well, and just sharing everything you can, man. Quickly before we hop off, let people know where they can find you on social.
Yes, sir. You can find me on, well, not all socials. I'm getting there, but IG, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. IG is Stefan Thomas underscore. YouTube is Stefan Thomas Inspires. LinkedIn is Stefan Thomas. Facebook, Stefan Thomas. And y'all, you can find me on Amazon. Stefan Thomas, keep riding the wave. If you got some kids in your life, I promise you this book is going to bless them. If you're an adult, read the book. It says a lot about resilience, emotional regulation, and really helping you keep going when things get hard. But so you can find me in all those spaces.
I love that so much. Thank you again to everyone who listened to tonight's show. You can find the Safe Room on Instagram at the Safe Room Official and also the President of TO. I'm getting back to my personal page, so I'm gonna be more active on that. You could also find the Safe Room on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all our previous episodes before Love Bay. And I gotta get back to uploading everything that I'm doing on Love Bay onto those platforms. So trust me, soon
Absolutely.
come, soon come.
Come on.
Uh, but also, again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're tuning in next week to your favorite show here on Love Bay. We'll see you guys next time.